Hello everyone, this is Gayle and welcome to my pumpkin cane tutorial. Now I went ahead and got a little pre-prepared. I've got some Primo Sunshine Yellow, Primo Orange, and Primo, I think this is the Raw Sienna. Yeah, it is, the Raw Sienna. I've rolled it all out. And I'm going to make a Skinner blend out of the yellow and the orange. And you'll see this little piece of brown. This brown, I just took a little sliver off of this brown. And I rolled it to the very thinnest setting of my pasta machine, which is a number 9 on my machine. So it's very, very, very thin. And I laid it across the orange because I'd like to tone down the orange a little bit. Pumpkins are not usually a bright orange, and this orange is kind of bright. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this Skinner blend, and hopefully this orange will tone down a little bit, and then I'll be back. Okay, so here is my Skinner blend, and I want you to see how adding just that tiny bit of brown, how it toned down. Come in so you can see it. How it toned down the orange. It's not quite so bright. It's a little bit more of a natural colored orange. So don't want to forget to come back out. That's been one of my problems. So what I'm going to do now is to roll this into a long strip. I'm folding it from the one side to the other side, which means my orange is still all together and my yellow is still all together. And I'm going to run this through on the thickest setting of the pasta machine. Which made it longer. Now I'm going to not stop, I'm going to roll it through the number 3 setting, which is the 3rd thickest, and then I'm going to run it through the number 5. But I'll turn the sound off so that you don't have to listen to the machine. Okay, so now I've got this long strip going from yellow to orange. And I'm going to take the yellow end. It's kind of hard to maneuver something. And I'm not going to cut it off. I'm just going to fold it up so that I get rid of that tongue and still have and have a nice straight edge, but still kept all of my yellow. And I'm going to just start rolling it up. And I will come in on this just so you can see a little better. I've shown you this before, but I don't know how close I got. But I'll do it slowly because I'm trying to keep from introducing air here. So once you get it rolling, pinch in on the ends to make sure it rolls. Then you can take your fingers, or if you're heavy-handed like me, you might want to use an acrylic block to keep from getting fingerprints in your, or finger grooves, not fingerprints. But I'm going to go ahead and don't let it fold up on itself, Gayle. There we go. But I'm going to use my hands, and every few rounds, just press on the ends to keep the ends from poking out. I think I will cut this end off just because I've been playing with it and there's holes in it now. Not rolling it straight. There. So now we have a cane that's yellow to orange. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this out. Right now it's a little over almost 1.25 inches around. I'm going to roll it till it gets to be about 1/2 inch. Or maybe not 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 inch. And try to keep your ends from, I didn't cut this one off, I should have. Let me cut this off before I go any further. And you can roll, this is pretty warm clay, so you can pull it. Maybe I will go down to 1/2 inch just because it's going to make it a little harder to do. It'll create a really big cane, which is okay. I'm going to roll it to 12 inches. I don't care what the thickness is. I'll roll it to 12 inches. Okay, and I rolled it a little bit beyond the 12. See what I mean? I keep forgetting to go back out. And I'm going to cut off the ends. And I'm going to cut this, let's see if I do 1, 2, 3, 4. I think if I cut this 1/2 inch and a half, 1, I think this will give me 8, 2, 3, 4. It's right on the 6, so it should give me 8 pieces. I'm just going to move it down so it'd be closer to the center, but still cut it 1.5 inches. So that's 5, 6, 7, and 8. A 1/4 inch left over. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to press them down. Well, no, you know what I forgot? I forgot to wrap it in the brown before I reduced it. So let me thin this out a little bit and I will wrap these in the brown and I'll be right back. Okay, I've hopefully have fixed my boo-boo. What I was going to do when it was the big cane, I was going to wrap it with brown rolled out to the thickest setting of my pasta machine and then reduce it. So since this had already been reduced, what I did is I put the brown down to a number 5, which is pretty thin, because you don't want a lot of the brown. But now I've got 8 pieces, and just because you fiddle with some and everything, if you can find, if you don't have 2 that are larger, then that's fine. But I'm going to take the 2 that I think look the largest to me, and I'm going to press them down. And flatten them. I guess that's a little more than 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to put these two together, and this is going to be the center of my pumpkin. Now you can just start working with your others. See, this one looks skinny. Go keep the two skinniest ones for the outside. I think that's it. Anyway, mash the others down. And this one ended up being pushed out to about an extra 1/4 of an inch. So this will be, press it out to its 1 3/4 inches. And you can do that with all of them. And having a grid like this, excuse me, really helps a lot. Trying to keep my ends fairly even. But this just takes a minute. I won't pause the camera because it just takes a minute. Okay, now what I'm going to do, get rid of that little piece of brown that was sticking over the end, is I'm going to pinch these edges. I'm going to take two and just pinch these edges. And try to keep it even if you can. Don't make it too thin. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, go take one and put it on one side and press. Well, it got a little longer, didn't it? That's okay. I decided with this cane I wasn't going to be chintzy with my clay. But make sure you go all the way down on the top and the bottom, and then take the other one and do the same thing on the other side. Just roll those pressed edges around. Gonna have to kind of watch this, not let it get too long when I pinch the edges. Now I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to pinch these a little bit more. I'm still going to try to keep it at 1 3/4, so I don't have to cut off so much. But pinch these a little bit more, because as you come out, you want your sections to be a little bit smaller in diameter. So I'll take that one and add it here. See, it's everything you do, you're going to do 8 times. And I know you could actually stop with these 2 if you wanted, but I'm going to go ahead and do 8, so I don't waste any clay. Just wrap that around. Then Actually, I'll just wait till the end and cut all of them off. So I've got 2 more. Now this one, I'm going to make a little bit thinner before I do the ends, just because this is going to be the outside, and you want your outside to be a little bit thinner because you're looking at something that's round. So as it goes around, you're seeing less and less of the actual design. So I just want to make this a little bit thinner. Then make these edges thinner. And do the same thing, only we need this to be really wider because we've got a fatter end here to go around. So make it thinner and wider, and then pinch the ends, or the sides, not the ends. And put this on the other side. And when you pinch these, they'll automatically start to curve a little bit, so you can use that to your advantage as far as placing it. Now let me cut these uneven ends off. And that's what we've got so far. Now it's a little wide for a pumpkin, so what we're going to do is we're going to start pushing it in. And this, because of the way it's curving, it looks like this will be the top. But you can roll it if you want to keep it round. You can roll it. I kind of like the funky shaped pumpkins myself. But you kind of pinch the top and the bottom to give it the shape you want. And you want the bottom to end up fairly round. Doesn't have to be perfectly round. But the top, see how this formed a little channel? Well, I'm going to use that to my advantage. And I'm going to take out a small rod. And press it into the top. Now this rod is 1/4 of an inch wide. So what I'm going to do now is take some of my brown and I'm just going to kind of fold it on itself until I can roll it. This way I won't get any air in it as I'm working with it. And then I'm going to roll this to about the size I want. Then I'm going to shape it into the shape of a stem. Now you can use green if you'd rather have a green. But I think I'm just going to leave mine brown. And let's see, a stem is kind of flat, not flat, but it's kind of flat on the bottom. And then curves a little bit. Does that look like a pumpkin stem? I think it does. So let me stick this in here, in that little groove. Well, I just thought of something. I should have made this stem green after all. Let me do that. Let me take this out. And let me find some green. I should have some pretty handy. These are some of my green scraps. This one has a metallic sheen to it, but you know, I don't mind that. I think the olive green would look better. Well, maybe I'll add some of this green. This is some kind of green mixed with white. So I think I don't need a lot of this. So I think I'll take this green and mix them together and come up with a little bit lighter olive green. So I'll be right back. That made a real pretty green. So I think I'll take this and I'll do the same thing, only I'll just fold this. Well, I don't want to get air in it. So I'll fold it with that on top. The tongue I'm putting on the top. Because if you put your tongue to the inside in these spaces where it's not as thick, it will hold air. So now I think I only need about half this much. So I've got another pretty color green. So that's a good thing to do, is to keep your scraps, if it's a solid color, not if it's part of a cane or something. Like these wouldn't work because it's all different colors. But if you mix some colors and you don't want to get rid of them, just put all of your greens on a plastic deli wrap and keep them in your drawer, and just like now, so eventually you're going to find a use for it. Okay, so let me curve this end. It's a little wide at the bottom. Because it's got to fit in this little round place here. So I'm going to press the center in it because I don't like the ends that much. And then I'm going to curve the top. Just a little. Because then I'm going to take this brown and I'm going to roll some snakes. Well, not snakes. I'm going to roll a snake. Then I'm going to turn it into a triangle. By pinching the top, pressing it down on my work surface and then pinching the top. Makes it into a triangle. And I'm going to take this triangle and I'm going to put the point down in that crease where the stem is attached. And do it on both sides so it will hold the stem in place. And then you can take your thumb, or you can take a little rod, but just kind of blend this down to where it meets the pumpkin. Now I haven't let this rest at all, so my pumpkin, the clay is kind of soft. So you'll see me trying to get it back into shape once in a while. And then I think the best thing to do would be to wrap this in another sheet of brown. And let me put this, that's actually is on the number 3. See where it gets wide enough. And I'm going to put the seam on the bottom because I don't want it on the top where this is. I want this to be solid across the top. And just wrap this in the brown. And I've shown you this before where you roll it over and make a mark. There you go. And there's my mark, so I'll cut there. And that marks where the clay fits together. So let me just, like I say, this is soft. I may have to reshape this, but let me just show you what we've got. There's our pumpkin. Oops, I turned it upside down. But there's our pumpkin. I just love this. Now there's so many things you can do with this. You can slice this in half and reduce half. And then you can cut them into little, when you reduce them down to about, 3/8 of an inch. Slice them, and then you've got some really cute pumpkin charms. You can take the same green if you want to. You can take a green and make a leaf out of it and alternate your pumpkin, everything down to about 3/8 of an inch. Have a pumpkin charm and a leaf charm, and a pumpkin charm and a leaf charm. And that would make a nice little bracelet. Or I've got something, I picked this up at, no, that's not it. Where'd it go? I picked these up at Tuesday morning for $1.99. There's some Tim Holtz charms. So if you make them small enough, you can press them into here and put that as a charm. There are just so many things. But here is our pumpkin cane. And I hope you like it as much as I do. I think it's really cute. So I will be back again next week with another polymer clay tutorial. So have fun. Happy claying. Bye-bye.